Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 102 of the Whitey and Will Sports Show. Today is Sunday, February 11th. It's Super Bowl Sunday,
Wait,
and
can we use the word Super Bowl?
we
Isn't that
can. I
like
don't think we're not making any money off of this
we're
podcast.
not bound by the
I don't think
FCC or
so.
anything like that? Okay.
I don't know. I guess we'll find out if this
Well, yeah,
if this
you
gets
said
put
it,
down.
not me. You're the one that gets dinged.
We're recording early in the day because of the football game, because of the big game,
The big
uh,
game.
because I guess we're gonna watch it. I don't know. I'm finding it a little difficult to muster any interest in the game myself, but it's the Super
It
Bowl.
should be a good game, Whitey.
I mean, I'm sure it'll be a fine game. I just don't care. You will notice that I shifted the angle that I'm recording from. Maybe you won't notice, but I
Because
have
of all the baseball paraphernalia behind you.
well, usually there's a window behind me and there's sun shining through. We usually do this on Sunday
All right.
nights. And so I had to get rid of the glare. So we're doing that.
All right.
We had a guest lined up until about an hour ago.
Less than an hour ago.
And then
Not 20 minutes ago.
he had some family stuff come up that he just couldn't get away from. So we were hoping to have Aaron Britton on here to talk about the 1A, well, not all just the 1A boys, but the boys regional pairings that have come out.
Always regional stuff. And we will effort on next Sunday because originally we were good. And then he texted me back and said, "Hey, I got a Super Bowl party to go to." And I thought, "Oh shit, I forgot it was Super Sunday." When
Yeah.
I talked to him. So then we moved it to one and we were good. And his young daughters were not very cooperative about napping.
Well,
And been
the
there, done that, Whitey.
the good news is that those boys regionals don't start until next week. So
Right.
if we got him
So
on
he'll only yeah, it'll be good.
if we got him on Sunday night, we would still be able to have a good preview conversation. But we're going to go ahead today. We will talk about the regional pairings that have come out for boys.
Yep.
Girls regionals got started yesterday. We'll hit on all that too. There were quarterfinal games that took place yesterday. A lot of our local small school teams participated in that, so we'll hit on all that real quick. But still some regular season basketball left to touch on, and I think that's where we will start. And as per usual, I don't really have a great plan about which team to start with. It
Let's just start with the shootout yesterday.
yeah, I was at T-Town yesterday. Uh, didn't see all four games of the shootout at T-Town, the 11th annual Wooden Shoe Shootout, if I could use its proper name. Uh, Matt Toon started the day. Decatur MacArthur beat them pretty handily, and then Troy Triad put a good thumping on Robinson in the second game. I saw most of that, and the final score was 25-30 points, and that's pretty much I mean, that's not one of those where the final score doesn't really do the game
Right.
justice. I mean, that's pretty much what it was. And then that's when we picked up our coverage. Greg Sapp and I were over there. Actually, Matt Robinson was down in Mississippi watching Mason play baseball.
Yeah. I haven't seen any information on that yet.
Yeah, I know. I mean, Kaskaskia had one of their spring trips down south, and so Matt wanted to go see Mason play his first college game. And why wouldn't you want to go see that? And
Heck yeah.
so Greg and I, we were over at T-Town, and we saw Effingham take on Alton, and Alton beat him by 32, 69-37. It was a game where the first few minutes I would have thought that maybe there'd been a running clock in the fourth quarter, but Effingham pulled it together, played hard as usual. I mean, really gave it their best effort and cleaned things up a little bit. Just couldn't get over the turnovers. Alton was not a very big team, but a very quick team, and just gave them a lot of problems, created a lot of turnovers, and did get it up over 30 in the final minute of the game. But other than that, it was no running clock in there. And then T-Town got to close out the evening with the only close game of the day. They defeated Normal U High 49-44. That was a tight ball game throughout. Shoes had a 7-point lead in the second quarter, but never got up any higher than that. Actually fell behind a little bit in that second quarter as well. Led by a few at halftime, just kind of it was a weird game because 49-44 was the final score, but U High outscored T-Town 21-19 in the second quarter. Okay, so like they just went nuts for 8 minutes. And other than that, it wasn't like a real up and down high scoring game. It was just kind of an interesting one. I know you were listening to us, Mike, a little bit, and I was obviously there, but there's a couple of teams that Aaron Britton's got in his top 20 in Class 2A. And the shoes hung on. There was there were some good things happening there. They had some lapses. Coach Reeder talked about it. He felt like they had some defensive lapses in the first half. But overall, I thought it was a good win for them. It gets them up to 19 for the season. And again, you talk about a couple of top 20 teams. It just sort of adds to that number 4 strength of schedule that they've got in Class 2A.
Sure. I didn't catch it till start of the third quarter. So
Okay.
I missed the quarter that I would have enjoyed because, that's how I
Yeah.
like to have games. But no, and it sounded like Garrett was doing a lot of scoring, but there was a lot of different people chipping in
Yeah.
at times. So, that, and again, it comes down to that. I don't think it's any surprise. Um, I think they will go as far as the people on the roster not named Gaddis play.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
mean, I
Garrett.
really think so. I think you know what you're going to get from him night in, night out. But he's got to have help, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, he scored 17 of the 48, so obviously did a bulk of the scoring. But what I saw was a lot of guys do the things that they can do at different points in the game. Austin Blummer only scores 2 points, okay, but
Yeah, I heard he hit. I know it's the shock. He hit a little baby hook on
he
somebody,
did.
little
He
baby,
did.
and that's. I'm telling you, I like using him as an option down there because he's so big and strong and long.
Zach Nieberge got you a couple of three
Yeah,
pointers.
hit a couple threes.
Right. I mean, right in succession too, kind of, just gave them something else they had to think about. He might have been the only person to hit a 3-pointer in that game. I'm trying to think. I know Gaddis might have hit one. I think Gaddis might have hit one.
Okay.
But they didn't shoot a bunch of them. In contrast to U High, who shot a buttload of 3-pointers, they shot 22 of them. T-Town only shot 10 3-pointers in the game. They made 3 of them. So Gaddis did make one. Nieberge made a couple. Alex Kramer scored 9 points, but he got 3 of them on an old-fashioned 3-point play. And it was in the fourth quarter when U High had cut the game down to 3 points, about a minute and a half left, something like that.
That was
Joey
on a
Nieberge,
putback, wasn't it?
yeah, Joey Nieberge had a breakaway for a layup. He missed it, and you could have excused Kramer for just giving up on the play because it was a wide open layup. Like really, you would not expect somebody to miss it, but for whatever reason, Joey didn't get it down. Kramer was Johnny on the spot, put it back, got fouled, made the free throw, and that was a very important, impactful play at that point in the game because it takes a 1 possession game and turns it into a 2 or maybe even a 3 possession game, and that was just we talked about it. Chet and I did after the game. I mean, that's what he said in January. He's not sure that Alex would have made that play. He just continues to grow and mature as a player, and that's what they've wanted to see out of him all along. He's really played his way into a crucial role on the team as the season has gone by. And also, I wanted to make sure to talk about Drew Haney a little bit, and I was remiss to not bring Drew up to Chet whenever
We
we
spoke
talked
about
after
him
the
briefly
game.
last week, didn't we?
We did, but I didn't bring him up when I interviewed Chet after the game
Oh, okay.
yesterday. He only scored 3 points, but he got to the free throw line twice, and it's the way he did it that I like. Attacking the basket, being aggressive, getting to the rim, see what happens. Both times he got fouled, got to shoot some free throws. Just he's a kid who, I mean, really at the beginning of the season was not seeing any time, and now he's one of the first guys off the bench.
Right. Saw their JV game with St. Anthony, and Drew was very aggressive offensively, going to the hole. Shot it well. When he got an open look, he knocked it down. But he's 6'2", pretty athletic, And
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a nose for the rim, but again, like we said last week, it's good to see flashes like that of someone looking to score. I mean, that's badly needed what they need, and that's put him in the rotation to get minutes. And he's capable. He's not going to be afraid. I mean, I've known Drew's played golf for me. He's not going to be afraid of the stage.
Yep.
He's just out there. Hey, I'm here to play ball, and I don't care if you're varsity or JV or whatever. I'm gonna try to go to the hole and score. So that's good, and they need that. I mean, that's
Yeah.
what they need.
Yeah, it was a good win for them. And they earlier in the week they had Casey come in. Uh well, I mean, they went to Danville Wednesday and got a win there. They beat Danville by 19. That was a makeup of a
Not
weathered
the
out
Danville. They're
game.
not the Danville from a few years ago. They're down a little bit.
They beat Casey by 10 on Tuesday night. Um, the only thing I'll say about that is, I mean, yes, that's a good win. They had an 11-0 lead in that game.
You guys
And
did that one on the radio, didn't
yeah,
you?
we did. And so, you do the math, win by 10, but have an 11-0 lead. That means that after that opening salvo, you I don't won't say you got outplayed, but you didn't outplay them either. And
Right.
so,
You played even.
right. So you'd like to see if you can land that big punch in the first quarter to be able to keep chipping away and keep, get that knockout blow at some point.
That's the tough part, man. You get a team down 10 or 11 early. Usually they're going to respond, and sometimes it's because you're shooting really, really well. There's various things, and it's hard to maintain, especially if you get a team. You have an 18, 20 point lead at the half. It's hard to keep building on that.
Yeah,
It
it
really
is.
is.
I
Kids
agree.
tend to pick a possession off here or there and say, okay, well, I've been doing a good job of feeding Sparky. We've been doing great. I'm going to get my shot. And
Hmm.
then pretty soon it's back to 12.
Yeah,
So,
it's hard to convince a bunch of high school kids not to look at the scoreboard. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, when you have a team that will, you know, using the term step on their throat, that's awesome because then you don't go back to 12. Then you take it to 28, 29, 30. You get it in that spot. It's when you let them back in it. And the team builds momentum. The only good thing about a team coming back on you, they generally spend a lot of energy and they get to a spot and then they hit a wall.
mhm.
I mean, been there with a team myself doing it. I've seen it as a coach on the other side. It's just you spend so much energy and so much emotion getting back into a game. Sometimes you can't get over the hump. You get
Mhm.
there, you just can't get back in or take the lead.
I had not to get too far ahead because the Shoes still have a week of regular season games. They got senior night Tuesday, Matt Toon coming in, and then they go to Albany on Thursday.
That'll be a
Uh,
good one.
yeah, those will be a couple of good tests, really. I mean, the Matt Toon game will be a good test too,
Sure, no, that'd be a good mark. And here's the thing, Alney, Coach Flanagan's had this date circled because the Shoes embarrassed Alney us. I mean, they embarrassed them.
Hmm. Yeah.
I was there on the end of the floor, and I've not seen Coach Flanagan get that upset with his kids during. I mean, upset, and then it was almost like they didn't respond, and he just said, "Fine, take the ass with,"
Yeah, I
because
mean,
they did not show up that.
but just sort of following up on that, after that, of course, then boys regionals start. And unless something weird happens, you're going to end up with T-Town and Newton rematching for the regional championship at Newton, in a couple weeks. And they played at Newton on January 30th, and that was an interesting game where what was it? T-Town had the lead after the first quarter, and then Newton had a great second quarter, took a lead, and then T-Town
Just
just
kind of
sort
went
of
back and forth, and then it just kind of T-Town expanded that in that second half a little bit.
43-34 was the final there. But Newton is playing pretty good ball right now. Well,
And Newton should have all their kids back. I think they were missing their point guard,
well,
possibly still that game.
the Bergbauer kid still is not
Oh,
kind
he's
of
not been back yet.
no, and it doesn't sound like he's going to be. I mean,
Oh,
at this
okay.
point, yeah, at this point, I don't.
I thought he was back. He's
Well,
quick.
I think that originally they had hoped that it wasn't going to persist this long, but yeah, but you know what? They just played Olney themselves. Newton did. They played them Friday night and beat them by 17 points. Okay, so
So Newton's beat only. Oh
no,
no, never mind. They beat him once.
yeah, they lost to Olney in the conference tournament,
Right.
but
Beat him 17.
yeah, 17, 56 to 39. So
I saw they beat him. I guess I never saw this.
they did play Tolono Unity this week also and lost by
Colombo got him
25
pretty
there.
good. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. You look at common opponents, you look at head to head. There's just not much for me to say that I would be very confident picking either one of those teams. It's going to be a good game.
I just think it'll be a good ball game.
Yeah. They obviously each have to win a semifinal first, but they
Sure.
should. They should. Okay. I'm just going to put it there. They should. We'll see. But that's kind of what you expect. Yeah, so that's the T-Town boys. We want NTC CIC shootout. Probably talk about that for a minute. Or the boys, NTC boys had their shootout up in Warrensburg yesterday. And it's kind of a mixed bag. They got off to a good start to the day. North Clay beat Central A&M 55-43. CHBC beat Sullivan 46 to 40. St. Anthony beat Nokomis 43 to 30. And then then it didn't go so well from there. Meridian beat Neoga by 16, 57-41. That game was closer for most of the way. Meridian pulled away. That's kind of how Neoga's season has been. They've hung tough with a lot of teams this year and just it just doesn't
finish.
right. Yeah, just Warrensburg Latham put the screws to St. Elmo Brownstown 63-32. Oh,
that will surprise me a little bit.
Yeah, a little surprised to see it go that lopsided. And then Tuscola beat Altamont 43 to 30. I was I don't know, I thought maybe, especially coming off Altamont beat St. Elmo Brownstown by 21 points on Friday night. So
yeah, I saw that too. That spread, the win didn't surprise me. The spread did.
Yeah, and so I thought, well, Altamont, Dylan Elam or no Dylan Elam, maybe they're, just rounding into shape. And, I don't lose out to Tuscola by 13, not necessarily, a bad outcome, but you were, I guess if Altamont is thinking about trying to make a run here, they'd like to see themselves, take that one down to the wire. And who knows, maybe on a different night they do. I didn't watch it, so I couldn't really say anything intelligent about how it got to 13 points. But the good news is that Warrensburg Latham put them all on YouTube. And so I will be able to take a peek a little bit later if I want to.
I'd be interested to see if Nokomis played their 1-3-1 still.
Holding St. Anthony 43 points is kind of an interesting thing. I don't be curious to see how that game materialized because that's pretty low scoring game. But St. Anthony also they beat South Central this week. No big shocker there. So they're 7-0 in conference play. Altamont 6-0 in conference play. Those two play Tuesday night at the Enlow Center. Like I said when Greg mentioned it on the radio last night, it can be a good game, but Altamont's going to have to bring it. Okay, I mean,
well, the thing is, I think Altamont's going to play a lot of man-to-man, which I think St. Anthony enjoys facing man-to-man because they've got kids who can create and do things out of the flow.
Diedrich beat Shelbyville at that shootout yesterday too.
Yeah, and Shelbyville kind of was. Well, Shelbyville beat Tuscola.
Oh yeah, twice I think they beat Tuscola this year. Actually,
yeah.
Let me verify that because I want to make sure, but I'm pretty sure I saw that they had beaten Tuscola a couple of times. Yeah, Shelbyville's 21-6.
Yeah.
Okay. Dietrich beat them by 7 yesterday. Tuscola beat Tuscola by 4 points on January 5th and beat Tuscola by 5 points on January 31st. So
Okay.
that's a good
That's
win
two
for
good
Dietrich.
wins for Shelbyville.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, and like I said, I saw Tuscola. Everybody talks about the Quinn kid, his brother. He's not as good as his brother. He's probably the third best player on the team. Um, they got a little guard who can flat play. He can
oh yeah,
shoot it.
oh yeah.
He's pretty proud of himself when he shoots it too. So uh,
He's a
that's the kind of
confident young
kid.
man.
That's the one. Yeah, he is confident, but that's the kid you really gear up for defensively. And
That's
I
Cam
don't know why do
Sweetheart,
you,
by the way.
yeah, but you know what? If and if you're giving him fits during the game, the only person I've ever seen that actually could handle this was Mitch Arnold. But sometimes you may let him know you're giving him fits. But you said that to Mitch, he'd score 20 in the next 2 minutes. But I,
Well,
I sometimes I think when the kid's having problems, you maybe just say, "Hey, why don't you keep shooting because you're not making anything."
listen, if we get to a Tuscola St. Anthony sectional game, St. Anthony will be able to defend him. I mean, I'm not going to say they're going to shut him down, but they will be able to defend him. And it's always interesting to watch a high school team and how it responds when option one is having, being limited.
Sure.
I mean, sometimes kids will step up and embrace that it needs to be them tonight.
Right.
And
And sometimes
sometimes
they
the
don't. It
train will come all the way off the tracks.
comes to a screeching halt.
So
Be interesting to see.
yeah.
That's why it's important. You got to have more than one option.
Like I said, Altamont St. Anthony this week. CHBC got a nice win over Winter Stew Straws on Friday night. CHBC is going to finish. It's kind of looking like they'll probably finish 5th in the conference, which is feather in their cap. I mean, I know that maybe you're a St. Anthony fan and you listen to someone say, "Oh, we finished 5th in the conference," and you're saying, "Well, la di da, congratulations." But for CHBC to be where it has been, that's a nice year for them. And so just want to take a minute to shout that out. And again, Altamont hasn't lost a conference game yet, so that's a big one for them against St. Anthony. They'll still have to play Windsor Stew as well. And does Dietrich still
Did
have
they
to?
move that to Thursday or is that still a Friday game?
That's Friday. They're gonna.
Okay. Because I know some
Um,
schools started moving that game to Thursday
they
because
did because they were starting to play.
postseason starts Saturday for
They're
some.
starting to play regional quarterfinal games on Saturday. Well,
Right.
this year they're not doing it. So now the
Right.
regional games are Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So
Yeah. Well, you
some of those schools who tried to work around it ended up not needing to do so. So I don't know. IHSA will do what IHSA will do, and we will adjust. Um,
they have the ability. Sometimes it's just like the quad system. Just do it. Don't put it out to a vote. You don't have to.
Real quick, T Town's girls only had one game this last week. They had Neoga come in, and that was not similar in any way to the Neoga game that they played last year. They put a running clock on Neoga in the fourth quarter, beat them by 30 exactly. Uh, yeah, I don't know. Not much else to say about that one. T Town girls played well. Summer Wall was not playing for a couple of games, and I wasn't sure what was going on there, but at least I think she wasn't. She wasn't showing up in the box scores, but she played against Neoga, and it just reminded me of how much I like her. She's not a big scorer.
Plays hard. She plays hard.
She plays hard, and she's got. This is no offense to anybody else in that T Town team, but she's got the basketball. She's got the highest IQ on that team as far as basketball goes. She understands what needs to be happening, where the ball needs to go, and she can get it bounce passes across the lane just in a flash before the defense can even understand that it's happening. She's already
Right.
made the pass and the person's shooting the ball. She just quick decisions and puts a good touch on it. Really, really, I think you look at their stats on the surface and say, well, when she graduates, that will not be a big hole for them to fill. And I am here to tell you
Yeah, it's different. It's not just points you're losing.
It will be an adjustment for them without her next year, but
Right.
still they got a lot of solid players who are continuing to progress, and so their regional play will begin this week as well. All the girls will begin. They haven't already played a regional game. Will play in this week, and by the time we talk next week, there's not going to be very many local teams left. That's just a
Are you
gonna
guys,
be
Whitey? Are you guys covering? Are you guys doing girls regional championship games on the radio, or where are you at?
yeah. So here's the deal.
Because it got to be that's the only thing that's been at
So
that level. You got to be at a championship game for they're on the radio, but I didn't know what you're doing.
the station policy from the powers that be, and that's above Matt and myself. Just to be clear, regional championships is where we pick them up. The only problem this week is that all those regional championship games for the girls are on Thursday night.
Right.
And
So
there's
there's three.
also and there is
Probably should be
also
3 games.
I know, but there's going to be one station available because we're contractually obligated to put this NASCAR stuff on the air, and there is a race Thursday night.
Okay.
Rules of Daytona, I guess. I I don't know. I don't care about NASCAR, so I don't know.
I
Uh,
have no
but,
idea.
but bottom line is it's a money thing, and we have no choice. It has to be it
Right.
has to be broadcast, and so
So
we
you're
have
going to be doing one regional championship game and potentially 3 schools to choose from.
that's that's correct. That is
Okay.
correct, Mr. Wilson. Not even sure what it's going to be yet.
All
Uh,
right.
I mean, obviously, we have some thoughts, but we're going to wait and see how it plays out, first of all. But
Right. Oh yeah.
I mean, if things
It's got to
go,
get there. Stranger things have happened in the postseason before.
but you do have to figure that St. Anthony's going to be playing in the championship of its own regional. Pretty good chance, of course, that Effingham's girls are going to be playing for a regional championship down at Salem. And then over at Diederich, you're going to have local teams involved in a regional championship. I mean, Altamont's the top dog there, and they're the smart money. Now, I will say, they played Altamont played Father McGivney uh, earlier this week, and that's a really good Father McGivney team, by the way. Both Altamont and St. Anthony took Monday night losses on the girls' side of things before picking up their conference or postseason schedule. Um, but the Altamont lost by 2 to Father McGivney. My understanding is that maybe Grace Nelson. I have no idea about the severity of it. No idea if it affects her status for the regionals or what. But apparently, her knee that she had repaired that she missed a lot of time with last year that she apparently might have had a little
Might have
tweak going
tweaked
on
it.
there. Yeah.
Huh?
And so I know nothing else. Okay. I got no inside information. Didn't ask Craig about it. Wouldn't expect him to necessarily give me
Right.
give me any sort
Hey,
of
Dustin, let me show you what we got. Oh, I understand.
yeah. Hey buddy, I know you tell your enormous audience
Seven
all about
listeners will
this, so
get
I'm going
this
to give you
information
every
ahead of
detail.
time.
No, I didn't
Yeah.
even ask. I have no idea. I just know that, you know, it was an issue that Monday night. For all I know, she's good to go. That's
Right.
just, something to keep an eye on. Okay. Um, and if I will say that if she wasn't 100%, it opens up that regional a little bit with
It
Diederik. And
changes the outlook of things. And you're
yeah,
right. It turns it into a crapshoot now.
yeah, it really does. Um, yeah, St. Anthony went to Tuscola Monday night. The girls did and lost by 16. Maybe I was a little surprised at the spread there.
All right.
But Tuscola's having another good year. There's you could have that game happening again somewhere down the road
Yep.
if things work out. So
Well, and we'll see what happens. Sometimes when you play a team that you're potentially going to meet in the postseason, you don't show a lot of your cards.
yeah, sure. I mean
Who
that's
knows?
entirely possible. I think you got But I mean, Tuscola's got a pretty savvy coach that's been there a long time too. So I would
Sure.
say he's
Right. No, no,
probably
no.
he's 16-point win or not. I'm guessing he didn't put everything out there either.
No.
So um Yeah, the NTC girls, now that their regular season is finished, I just again want to point out that non-conference play for them, 127-69 was the final record
Pretty
there.
good.
So they had a tremendous, and some of those games were against each other too. I did not do the math on, you know,
That's
uh,
about a 65% winning percentage non-conference.
yeah, um, awfully good. And I think I said right here on this show last week that all those NTC girls teams that had to play in the quarterfinals and the regional, none of them would be challenged. And that was
They weren't.
correct. And I guess we could go ahead and segue into that if you wanted to.
Yep, let's do that.
Let me pull up the score zone real quick. But as far as that Diedrich regional goes, Neoga had to play Cerro Gordo, beat them by 17 in a quarterfinal. Diedrich had to play Red Hill. Um, they beat them by 21 points, 48-27. So your semifinals in that Diedrich regional, which are tomorrow night, would be Altamont and Neoga. That's a 2 seed versus an 8 seed. And then Diedrich is a 5 seed. They're going to have to play number 3 Decatur St. Teresa. So those are semifinals into a Thursday championship. Uh, let's see other local teams at the St. Anthony Regional. You had CHBC play Unity Christian out of Decatur, formerly LSA. They beat them by 20 points. And you had Windsor Stu Straws beat Argenta Oriana by almost 30, 45-16. So your semifinals there tomorrow night at St. Anthony are the top seed Bulldogs against number 7 CHBC, and then number 4 Central A&M against number 6 Windsor Stewarts and Strasburg. So those are again Monday semifinals into a Thursday championship. And then going down, you had St. Elmo. They're down at a different. They're in a different sectional complex, and so is North Clay for that matter, and South
Right.
Central. North Clay beat Ramsey by 20. Uh, they beat them 52-32. That was in the Christ Our Rock Lutheran Regional. So now the South Central and North Clay will play in a semifinal on Tuesday night there. That'll be an interesting one. And then where's my St. Elmo Brownstown? There they are. And Mount Olive, they played Bunker Hill and beat them by 33 points. So they will play Maryville Christian tomorrow night in a semifinal. Um, if that one goes according to plans, then they would play that Father McGivney team in a championship there. And St. Elmo Brownstown, that was or Brownstown St. Elmo. I keep saying St. Elmo Brownstown. For the girls, it's Brownstown St. Elmo, but that was their 25th win. So congrats to them on getting to that number. But then also they've got a pretty good chance to get to a 26th and then possibly win a regional. So that's kind of how that all shakes out. Um, we mentioned Tuscola already, and they have they're playing in the Okah Valley Regional. Uh, they would most likely play Tri County in a championship game there, and I'm not going to say that it's a lock that they win that, but it's Tri County is going to have to do pretty good work to beat them. So again, feeding into that Central A&M sectional. The winner of that Okah Valley Regional will play the winner of the Diedrich Regional. So Tuscola most likely against, you know,
Medical.
Altamont, Diedrich, Neoga, somebody. And then, if St. Anthony could come out of its own regional, they'd play the winner of the Chrisman Regional. And again, I don't know much about that. I saw Arcola Monday night. They're the 3 seed and the number 2 team in that Chrisman Regional. I saw them Monday night against Neoga, and they beat Neoga, but man, I don't know. Seeing them, thinking of them trying to play against St. Anthony, I just can't really, can't really see it. Now, Salt Fork is the top seed in that regional. I don't know anything about them, and probably at that point, not knowing anything, the less said, the better. So there you go. T-Town and Effingham obviously didn't have to kick off their regionals yet. Although I will say that Effingham knows who they're going to play now. I looked that up real quick. Effingham is going to play Troy Triad. They beat Salem by 11 Saturday. So they'll play Troy Triad tomorrow night down at Salem, and then Bethalto will play Centralia, and then most likely you're going to get an Effingham Bethalto championship game on Thursday night. That's the most likely scenario as far as T-Town's girls go.
Were they at Fairfield?
Lawrenceville.
Warrensburg.
They're going to play Marshall. Um, so the semifinals in that Lawrenceville regional are going to be Mount Carmel and Cumberland on Monday night, which, by the way, congratulations to Cumberland. They beat Lawrenceville by 32 points yesterday. So they got a regional quarterfinal win. And now they get to play Mount Carmel, which is probably not going to be a lot of fun, but those girls play hard, and wishing them the best. And then number 3 T-Town will play number 8 Marshall. That's a Marshall team that just did get by Cumberland, I know, in the Christmas tournament, but Cumberland was also without they were without some players who, and I'll never understand this, but without a player who was out of town on a vacation during the holiday tournament, one of their better players. So take that result with a grain of salt. Yes. So anyway,
Yeah.
still kind of shaping up for a Mount Carmel T-Town championship game there, but mostly because I like Cumberland and because I know the coach. I don't want to sell them short just yet, but they'll have to play really well to beat that Mount Carmel team. So there you go. There's the girls. And with that, I think that kind of sets us up to get into the boys basketball talk a little bit. As obviously the regional seedings came out on Thursday, and then the pairings came out a day later. And of course, the first thing to hit on again is that we've already mentioned it, but Eastern Illinois University is going to be a super sectional site again. So all of the
Yes.
local 1A teams have a chance to play there. It's a really, from a broadcaster's, from a media person's point of view, it's a really nice. It's a
Oh,
really
you
nice.
sit on the floor.
Well, yeah, but then also, I'm just talking about where everything's at because St. Anthony's hosting a sectional too. So you
Yeah.
know, not a lot of travel for this media
If
member.
they make a run, you're correct.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but if any 1A team from around here makes a run, that's going to
Yep.
be pretty much the path. So why don't I do the thing here?
The famous Dustin White screen share.
It's really not that impressive, but you know, we're a we're a we're a
Sell
low
yourself short, Dustin. You really do.
we're a low budget operation. So
Yeah, that's true.
boy, the only thing I'll say is I got so many windows open here. It's kind of confusing. So all right. All right, can you see that?
I see. I see it.
All right. So here we go. It's the St. Anthony sectional, of course. So you've got regionals at Okaw Valley, Altamont, Edwards County, and Casey Westfield. Um, those are your 4 regional sites. I'm just going to go down the list. At Casey, Tuscola is going to be the top seed there. You see that there. They've got again Monday night. There's quarterfinals, and those are all at the higher seed. So they'll host the higher seeds will host those games. Tuscola played Heritage, and I'm not going to be able to speak very intelligently about these teams for the most part. Neoga is an 11 seed. They'll play Martinsville. Casey Westfield, a 3 seed, will play Tri County, and Villa Grove will play Chrisman. So Tuscola got to be the favorite there. I've seen Tuscola. I've seen Casey. I'd have to put my money on Tuscola if that game were to
Think so.
happen. As far as Okaw Valley goes, that's where St. Anthony lands, and they're a number 1 seed. No surprise, top seed in the state, top team in the state in 1A. It doesn't matter if you look at Aaron Britton's rankings or if you look at the Associated Press rankings.
I prefer Aaron Britton's ranking. So
I do too. Aaron Britton does not do 3A girls rankings, by the way, but if he did, he'd probably do a better job than the voters have done and some of that too. No offense to Effingham, it's been in Effingham's favor, I think, but I'll touch on that in a second because that's something that kind of drove me nuts.
Yeah, I know where you're going with that.
Um, but St. Anthony will play Ramsey on Monday night, the 19th, by the way. Not tomorrow, but a week from tomorrow. You got Windsor Stew Straws, a 7th seed. They're going to go to Nokomis, who's a 6.
Who
CH,
just played St. Anthony, by the way?
yeah, they did. Yeah, and again, 43-30 was the final there. St.
Yeah.
Anthony won, but it was a interesting game. Uh, CHBC at Arcola. I think I think that could be it's a 10 versus a 4, and you'd think Arcola is, pretty heavy favorite there. I think CHBC is very capable of making that a good game. If they play well. And then Central A&M at Okaw Valley. So there's those quarterfinals. And again, everything goes Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Monday quarterfinals, Wednesday semifinals, Friday championships. Now you got Altamont hosting a regional, and that's where you got Altamont. They drew a 2 seed. They'll play Mulberry Grove. North Clay got a 7 against South Central, a 10. So all that season, all those games, and in the first round of the regionals, you play a team that you're very familiar with. And the interesting part about that, by the way, Mike, is they haven't played a regular season game yet. That's like their last conference game of the year
Okay.
against each other. So they're going to play twice in quick succession. And South Central, they're hovering just below 500. They have a little difficulty putting points on the board. They had a kid decide not to be on the team anymore about midway through the year, and I think one of their uh, one of their one of their more capable scoring options, and so it's been a bit of a struggle for them at times this year. But South Central and North Clay, there's a lot of history there, and so it's a rivalry game. And I will say Josh Zink has got his boys playing real well right now. They got off to a tough start. Zimdar's kid wasn't available for a little bit at the beginning of the year, and they had other injuries and some other stuff that kept their full team from being on the floor. I think really they're hitting their stride pretty well, and I've already said that on this program, but really look out for them next couple of seasons. They're going to be awfully good. Weber Township is a strong team at a 3 seed. They're going to play Sandoval. And then Sandoval Brownstown, I think probably just because, since the NTC tournament, they've been on a bit of a slide lately, dropped down to a 5 seed. They're going to play this Potoka Odin co-op in their first game. So, you could have Altamont and North Clay playing in a semifinal. That could happen, or you could have Altamont and South Central, and then probably Weber Township, probably Weber and St. Elmo in the other semifinal there. So we'll see. Um, then down in Edwards County, Diederich got your other number 1 seed. They are the one team out of all these teams that does not have to play a quarterfinal game. Only 7 teams at that regional, so Diederich will get a bye, and that's a well-deserved 1 seed for Diederich. By the way, they are playing good ball. And continuing to improve. Like they're looking pretty scary right now. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, they're a force to be reckoned with. They can score.
But you see that Christ Our Rock kind of worked its way up to a 4 seed here. I don't early season. I'm not sure that I had that on my radar that they'd be a top 2 seed in a regional, but they've gotten themselves up to that point. Can't say a whole lot about any of these other teams. Haven't seen much of them. I know Grayville has had a pretty decent year. Sisney, I think they started out strong. Not sure how they have finished, but obviously not a fantastic seeding for them either. But yeah, you could have, you know, I feel like Diederich is a pretty heavy favorite in this one, though. Diederich and St. Anthony are both going to be pretty heavy favorites in their regionals. So the other ones, I think a little more interesting. But if Altamont's getting on a roll, then I could see them winning their regional. Not knowing much about Weber Township, I can't say a lot, but feeling pretty good about Altamont right now. So you could potentially get 3 NTC teams
Yep.
into the sectional at St. Anthony. And I'm not trying to rule anybody out. You know, I'm not trying to sell Neoga
But
short.
they're all comfortable playing there too. They've all played there, so
Yeah.
that can be a different shooting gym.
So again, at that St. Anthony sectional in a couple of weeks, the winner of the Okaw Valley Regional, which is the one that St. Anthony's in, would play the winner of the Altamont Regional. So you could potentially get a St. Anthony Altamont game not long after they played each other in regular season play. Since that's a game that's happening this week, it'd basically be, well, not basically, it would be 2 weeks away. But not if that were to play out. And then the other one, Edwards County Regional versus the KZ Regional. Obviously, we kind of think Tuscola is going to come out of that one. I think both of us are on the same page there, you and I, Mike. And then Edwards County Regional, that's where Diedrich's at. So
Dietrich's to win.
yeah, a Diedrich Tuscola game could be a lot of fun too. uh, we'll see.
That could be a
Nothing for
shootout
granted.
because Dietrich's got kids that are going to put it in the air, and if they shoot it well, they can go on. They're streaky.
Yeah,
They
but
can be really streaky shooting the three.
they can. I will say that they play pretty aggressive, pesky defense too. And that's one thing I like about them. I watched the first part of their game against Shelbyville yesterday online, and that game got off to a really slow start for both teams. But I think the officials were kind of letting them play a little bit was part of it. But then, but that's the thing. I think that there's been some pretty talented offensive Diedrich teams in the past that if a game was going that way, it would still get away from them because maybe on the defensive end, it wasn't quite as good. But I think this year they can bring it on that side of the table a little bit too. So that's 1A. I think everybody is pretty much there, right? It's not like the girls where a couple
Right?
of
No,
teams.
everybody's pretty well all going the same direction.
Yep. And it's all, of course, feeding toward Charleston. And
Yep.
the thing is, only one will make it there. That's the thing about them not you not having that stray team that goes elsewhere, like with the girls, where Brownstown, St. Elmo, and North Clay and South Central went another
Right.
direction. Uh, it all feeds into Charleston. Now, 2A. Did it. And of course, it's just the one 2A team that we have to talk about, but that is T-Town. And we already kind of alluded to this, that of course they're going to the Newton Regional. Both T-Town and Newton get first round buys. So T-Town got the 2 seed there. Newton got the 3. T-Town will play either Paris or Marshall in their first game, and Newton will play either that's OPH, that's the Oblong Palestine Hudsonville team, or Mount Carmel.
Whitey, I saw in the minutes from the IHSA meeting last week, I think that the co-op is dissolving at the end of this year.
Is that right?
I think so.
I wonder how I mean, so is it just going to go back to Oblong standing alone and
Well, I
Palestine?
don't know. Hudsonville Palestine used to co-op by themselves for
They
several
did.
years. So
Yeah.
here's the thing. Logistically, that's a lot of travel for
It is.
kids because Hudsonville to Palestine, you go from Hudsonville High School to Palestine High School, you're probably 15 minutes tops. I mean, well, at your best. I doubt you can go there that quick to be honest. Well, you got to go along the river. Yeah, if you go along the river, you're probably talking close to 15 minutes. But to get to Oblong, that's 25 minutes
Yeah.
if you don't get caught in traffic or get stuck in Robinson. So I just think logistically it's not.
Well, yeah, from a travel perspective, for sure.
That's what I mean. I think the travel issue is where it's
The problem, I think,
become a
just
problem.
just knowing the size of those schools is maybe the only thing that they were able to do recently to have the numbers.
Yeah, I don't know. If they got numbers coming back, maybe they're going to stand on their own. I really haven't heard. I just saw where that was. I thought the ITSA approved the dissolving of that.
And the thing is that I mean, if those programs if they split back into two programs, Oblong on its own and Hudsonville Palestine or Palestine Hudsonville, depending on. I think it was always the boys co-ops were Hudsonville Palestine and the girls were Palestine Hudsonville. But I mean, it would keep you from being in 2A also. I mean, there's no
Sure.
chance. There's no chance for
Right.
them in 2A, even with the combined numbers, at least in
You
one
know,
of
and
them, if you get that
looking
right
at
group together.
this back in '06, Lawrenceville had to go to Vandalia for a regional, and I know they were not very happy, to
Mhm.
say the least. But the four teams that met in that sectional at Paris ended up being Vandalia, who was the host, St. Anthony, T-Town, and Olney. So I don't know. Yeah, Lawrenceville had to do a little traveling there, and they weren't very excited. I just
Well,
remember that.
Lawrenceville has a pretty good team this year.
Yeah, they are pretty good.
They got that one seed, and as you sort of alluded to already, they do go to Vandalia. I don't know much about these teams. I mean, I saw Robinson a few times this year. Robinson is a team that, like you look at them. If you watch them warm up, you would swear that they were having a better season just based on the athletes that they've got, and it just hasn't. It hasn't been there for them. There could be some behind the scenes stuff there. You never know. I mean, they've got a coach that's not going to be there next year, and it's been known since the beginning of the season. I'm not saying that's what it is. I have no
I
idea.
have no idea. I've only saw them briefly at Thanksgiving. I don't even know if I saw them play any other than I just the start or end of a game before I either as I was walking in or as I was leaving.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know. Talk to Coach Bishop. They're wanting back in our Christmas tournament. We just don't have a spot for him right now. He's upset that their guy who was there after he retired for a year, then got out, and he unretired, and you know. So I don't know. That's and at Vandalia, you got Brian Kern back on the bench over there. That's they brought him back. So
Mhm.
Vandalia is a good venue. Um,
It is. It's a nice
it's
gym.
just Lawrenceville it'll be interesting. See
Um,
what happens there.
and I don't know much about Fairfield. I haven't seen Flora this year. It used to be that I would always end up seeing Flora somewhere at some point, and that just doesn't happen anymore. I've seen Cumberland. Uh they have a little trouble putting points on the board a lot of times. Kind of an issue for them.
Yeah.
Just don't know much about that, but I know Lawrenceville's awfully good, and so probably ought to be favored there. Looking at these other regionals that feed in to the Shelbyville sectional, you got Monticello here. We have seen Tolono Unity. I'm not surprised to see them draw a one seed. Pretty good team.
Who's
And
the top? I can't see your screen now unless you and I
oh,
may have done that. But
sorry.
who's top seed at Monticello?
Um, Unity. Yeah,
Okay.
see, Unity's a number one seed, so
Okay. So Unity could end up going to frickin' Carbondale.
they could, they could, which is a little weird when you. What are the other super sites? Sterling,
Springfield is where they would have gone before. They just some shifting of
Joliet,
teams.
and Springfield. Yeah.
Springfield's where they would have been. Yeah. Um. So you've got St. Joe Ogden is the top seed at St. Joe Ogden. You've got
Uh
Palono. You've got
huh.
T-Town, and then Lawrenceville are your top four seeds.
Yeah. So you could theoretically, you could get like a Tolono Unity T-Town rematch in a sectional semifinal of. You could get that. You could get a Unity. Well, Unity
Newton
and
rematch.
Newton played too, and
Yeah.
Unity won that one also. So, either way, uh, that would be somebody getting a chance for a little revenge against the Rockets. And we mentioned Tolona Unity. I mean, they're a number one seed now. I don't see that changing in the next couple of years.
No, they got really good group of young kids. St. Joe, I know T-Town's beat St. Joe.
Yeah.
Uh,
St. Joe would play St. Joe won its own regional, which Shelbyville's in there.
Would
Uh,
play Robinson,
yeah, play the winner
or
of
not Robinson, Lawrenceville. I'm sorry.
yeah, Lawrenceville at the Vandalia Regional if Lawrenceville were to come out of that one, which I think we have to sort of, that's the best bet. So that Shelbyville sectional could be pretty good too. But I guess what I would say about that though is that looking at the teams that are going to be potentially there, that if T-Town could make it out, make it past Newton or whoever in their regional. Listen, I wouldn't, they've got a real chance
It
to their
depends. It
second game.
depends which group of kids get on the bus. I mean,
Yep.
that's been their motto. I mean, when they've got other kids who are effectively putting points on the board because their defense travels, man. But
Yep.
yeah, we'll just have to see.
And then quickly move on to 3A. Effingham goes to the Charleston Regional, and they will have to play a quarterfinal game Monday the 19th at Charleston, which that would actually be at the higher seeds venue, but since Charleston's hosting anyway, it'll be Effingham and Charleston. And so far, they've already played 3 times, and Charleston has won all 3 of those games. You know, Effingham, I will say, and I'll go ahead and shut off the screen share now, but I'll say the same thing about Effingham, that I've said a lot of times and meant it every time, they're going to go into that game and they're going to bust their butts. But just given this the way the season's gone, that'll be an upset if they can pull it off. But not saying they can't either. So,
Right. I'm just guessing looking at those pairings, you have maybe a Mount Vernon Olney collision course coming.
yeah, yeah. Mount Vernon and Olney are the top 2 seeds in that Charleston regional.
Which that game could be like 32-31. Same.
Those are both programs and coaches that have
Both coaches are
traditionally
not
not been
afraid to be
shy about slowing it
they're
down.
not afraid to be deliberate.
Well, and people don't like that, okay? But it takes it listen, it takes good players to do that too,
Oh
okay?
yeah.
I mean, there's a reason that bad teams can't go out and try to run the last 40 seconds of a quarter and get the last shot. They don't even try because all you're going to do is turn it over, give the other team a layup. So there's certainly a skill and a talent level to it.
Well,
It's just,
discipline.
yeah, it's not as fun to watch. And if you're if you're broadcasting it, so and so passes to so and so on the wing, so and so, blah blah blah, pass
Still
pass.
remember the late great Gary Shirley bragging to me once at South Central. They had like a 42 pass possession. I go, Gary, I'd have fallen asleep. I
Well,
only faced him one time, and we got it in a track meet, and his kids took a bite of the forbidden apple, and they found they liked it, and he couldn't slow them down, and we got a W.
um, I still think about it was Olney playing Edwardsville at the Charleston Holiday Tournament uh, back in the Keen Toman days. So,
Yeah,
and Edwardsville got out in front and then
hell,
decided that they were going to make Olney stop playing zone. And so the kid's name was Hogg. I remember that.
from
Okay.
Edwardsville.
Yeah. And he dribbled one step across the timeline and put the ball under his shoulder. And Olney said, stand there then. And they did it for minutes of game time, minutes of game time. And I
I've seen it happen.
cannot imagine trying to broadcast through that. But I guess to give you a chance to, I don't know, give you a chance to
I saw Calvin
say
Herrick be
something.
creative one night trying to do that, and they dribbled it in front of their bench, and either all 5 or 4 kids lined up shoulder to shoulder, and they kept handing the ball back and forth to each other. to avoid the 5 count.
Well, I could see where you could do that. Okay. It's like a bracket almost. Okay. You got three guys along the sideline and then one guy on either side of the bracket sealing off the defense. And then the three guys that are shoulder to shoulder are kind of just handing it to each other while the other two guys are sealing the defense from getting in there. I could see it.
You know how I defend that, Whitey?
Foul.
I bring my 14, 15 guy on the bench who's not going to play, and they foul. You could do it now. It'd be hard back in the day. You'd have to get 7 fouls. You'd
Yeah.
have to have 3 guys, but get it to the line. And then I would not let them get to that position.
Mm,
We would not let them dribble the ball.
yeah. That'd be funny to see, I guess. It's kind of creative. I mean, I give them that, you know. Yeah. I can
That's one
visualize it.
word. Creative is one word you could use.
I touched on this a minute ago, but again, it just I don't know why it irritates me to see it. And again, it works to Effingham's benefit, the girls. They're in the top 10 in class 3A in the Associated Press poll right now. I think they're 9th. And then Mount Zion is 10th. And
Who they've beaten.
Taylorville was the
Taylorville's not
leading vote
ranked.
getter amongst the non-top 10. And the
And they
problem
beat them
with
both
that,
twice.
the problem with that is that Taylorville beat Effingham twice. They are the undefeated champion of the Apollo Conference. And it's been going on for weeks now that they have been getting fewer votes. And listen, I know it's because there's like a handful of people voting and they're just voting for the team they want to be ranked instead of, maybe what the
What's
result.
Taylorville's overall record? Is Taylorville's overall record really good?
Yeah, it's
I mean, I would assume, but
oh yeah, I'll tell you exactly what it is if you give me just a minute.
now you're assuming
Um,
Max Preps is accurate.
no, I keep track of this stuff. They're
Oh,
24.
that's right, because they're Apollo. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they're 24-6.
Yeah.
So, they're good.
Yeah.
Effingham's 26-4. Okay, so Effingham does have a better
So that's why
record.
when people who are voting who are not familiar with the area just look at the record and say, okay.
Yeah, but
I
even
mean,
then,
that's what it is. So Effingham's losses are twice to Taylorville, once to Matt Toon. Who's the other one to?
is toward the beginning of the year. It oh, you put me on the spot, Mike.
I don't want this to be easy.
I should know it too
We
because
should be at our best, Whitey. It's Super Bowl Sunday.
Highland. That's what it was.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Highland, December 21st. And it was a 4-point game. I was there actually, so I should know.
You would think. You would think.
As I recall, Effingham did not play well early in that game
Okay.
and just could never get out in front. So
Hey, we have a shout out today.
Okay.
St. Anthony Bullpup, 7th grader, state champs.
I got another one for you. Congratulations, then, by the way.
Yeah.
Coach
Jason Ludwig.
Yeah. Nancy Ruholl scored her 1,000th point this week.
Yes, I saw that. And they made a free throw.
Yeah.
God, beat that game.
They did. They lost twice this week. They lost to Newton and they lost to Tuscola, but Nancy was 1 point shy going into that game in Newton. So she made
so she hit the free throw early. Okay.
Yeah, she hit an early free throw and again, she is the second St. Anthony player this year to cross that number. But the notable difference is that she's a sophomore. Okay.
Right.
And I know Coach Rios put it out there in the press that is the first time a sophomore has done it for St. Anthony, which, not
I saw
surprising.
I saw pictures from after the game, her and her cousin, Ryan Schmidt, who
Right.
obviously she's a better scorer than her cousin because she's got 1,000 points.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
a little cousinly rivalry going there.
It was good to see that a lot of people made the trip over to Newton to support her and
Yes.
show some show some interest in that. That's always good for their program. I have kind of been beating that horse for a while now that they need to.
We've been getting attaboy messages on that.
because you never know. I mean, I think this is, I have said this about the 1A girls teams in the area this year. I see a handful of them that could win a sectional or they could lose a regional championship. And that's just,
Yep.
but that St. Anthony team is one of those, if they get going, if they get rolling, um, you know, they could make a deep run. Altamont could
Yep.
make a deep run.
Yep.
But St. Anthony, the thing you have to keep in mind when you got a team that's capable of that is not take it for granted because you don't know, when you're
Right.
going to get another chance to see a team like this.
Sure.
And so enjoy it, get out
Yep.
there and show those kids some love. So we'll know a lot more about whether any one of them are going to make a deep run by this time next week
Yep.
because
This time next week. And I'm going to reach out to Aaron. We'll see if we can get him on again because that'd be a good
yeah,
follow up because we'll
mhm,
be right in the teeth of the boys 1A or the
absolutely. Yeah. None of
boys
them, none of them
postseason.
will have played a regional game yet. So we'll still
Right.
be able
And
to preview.
that's his niche.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
He's the expert.
he is most certainly an expert. I'll look, hopefully we'll make that work. You know, who's going to win this football game tonight, though?
In our family pool, I think I picked the Chiefs. And in my head, I have them winning 27-24. That'd
I don't.
be 51 points. So I had to pick the winner in total points. Morgan picked the Chiefs and 56 points. I go, how in the hell are they going to get to 56 points? He goes, well, that's 8 touchdowns. One team scores 7, the other one. I said, this isn't the Broncos back in the day getting beat by 40 points at every Super Bowl. This is going to be a good game.
Yeah, I don't think that many points are going to be scored. Yeah,
27-21. I can live with that. That's not bad.
I just, I just can't, I just can't muster up any sort of interest in it, though. I don't.
Okay.
I
Hey,
just,
I know you've been, I got the update. I did see on the Twitter that Taylor Swift did land in LA early this morning, so she'll have time to get to Vegas and rest a
yeah,
little bit.
I'm looking forward to people being very mad about her being on TV for 2.5 months.
I guess I don't understand that. What's the deal? I read an article. Um, I forget who it was. It was some sports pundit, but he said, her airtime is generally no more than 25 seconds in a
Yeah,
game.
I mean, we have to see Jerry Jones's ugly mug that much anytime the Cowboys
Oh,
are on TV.
usually saying bad words under his breath. But the thing is,
If I have to look at
it's
somebody, it might
brought
as well
more
be
it's
Taylor
brought
Swift,
more
not Jerry
viewership.
Jones.
Yeah, exactly. And it's brought more viewership um, to the Super Bowl. There's more interest this year than there's ever been. Come on, the conspiracy theory that this is the government.
Oh,
I almost threw up the other day. Somebody mentioned that. I said, okay,
let me tell you something. I think Taylor Swift is
that's that's
celebrities,
grasping for straws there.
one of the few celebrities that could somehow the NFL could look at and say, this person is bigger than us. We need to latch on to this. But I'm telling you, I saw a sweatshirt at church just today that said, "Go Taylor's boyfriend." It was Chiefs colors. And I'm
Yeah,
telling
I
you,
like
I don't think there's very many other celebrities, you know.
that could out pull Travis Kelce.
Yeah. I mean, that's the
I
point.
love and I've moonlighted watching their podcast a little bit, Whitey. Now that they've passed us as number one in our area, and I saw a snippet, and at one time Jason says, "Travis, I'm glad she finally put your ass on the map." So that's good. I
Yeah.
mean, he's potentially, depending on how his career goes from here on, potentially can go down as past Gronk as the best tight end ever.
Yeah. I think I'd rather see San Francisco win, though. And it's got nothing to do with Taylor Swift. I just,
Well, I can't root against Brock Purdy, man. With Mr. Irrelevance in the Super Bowl in the second season, that's pretty good.
well, and I've seen enough of the Chiefs, quite frankly. It's just something different,
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, but this year people wrote them off about middle of November, early November, and then
they
something
didn't look
happened.
very good.
No, they didn't. But they've kind of righted the ship.
Hmm.
And my old boy Steve Spagnuolo has been a big part of it.
Well, and my other thing with the Chiefs is that I don't harbor a lot of ill will toward Matt Nagy, but I'm not really sure he needs. I'm not sure he
I
needs anything.
I've not heard him get any credit for anything. I will say that, buddy.
Well, he's isn't he? He's their offensive coordinator, isn't
Yeah,
he?
but you never hear him mentioned.
Well, I mean, he's the offensive coordinator, but I'm guessing that Andy Reid pretty much makes the
I
big.
like Andy Reid. I will say this. I like Andy Reid. I like his demeanor. I like some of the things he said in press conferences. He's the anti-Bill Belichick in a press conference, which is always
Mhm.
good.
Yeah, a
Um,
little personality is always nice.
well, it goes a long way, and he has great delivery
Mhm.
when he throws little snippets out there.
Well,
That's it. We're done.
yeah, we don't need to talk about the Illini game yesterday. I didn't get a chance to watch that. I
There
think
was
it
another
really,
game last night, and I all I know is Zach Edey hit his first three of his career. I just saw that, so that's all I know.
I'm not terribly enamored with Zach Edey. I'm not sure. Somebody put up I saw a highlight mix of him lately that was talking about how he's really elevated his game and he's ready for the pros. And it was just
I
a
don't
bunch
see a
of
big change from last year to
it
this
was
year.
just a bunch of like video of him like drop stepping and dunking over guys 8 inches shorter than him. Like,
These are
okay,
like George Mikan videos.
yeah, like I mean, okay, you probably ought to be able to do that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's a nice player. I like Matt Painter, former EIEIU guy. I just with the Hoosiers struggling, I don't. They're not must watch, so I haven't seen a lot of Big Ten games this year. On occasion, I saw a little bit of the Illinois game yesterday, and I saw the score. Illinois took a 76-75 lead. I went to do something at the dealership. I came back, and then
That's
it
about
was
it.
82. It was 82-76. I was going,
Yeah.
what? I was only
Yeah.
got a minute. What? How they lose 7 points in a minute?
Yeah, I mean, I was busy, I was on my way to T-Town and then setting up, so I didn't really get to watch. Losing to Tom Izzo irritates me a little bit these days. I feel like he has gotten unnecessarily grumpy toward
It's
the
kind of grumpy.
toward this point in his. I mean, he was always kind of grumpy, but he's I don't know. He's one of those coaches that really just it seems like he's refusing to sort of accept some of the things that are different about the game now,
Yeah,
and lets that. Oh, he just looks like he's miserable. I don't know. He doesn't look like he's having any fun out there.
yeah, that could be true.
Yeah, but I don't know. Illinois is just. I guess it's just the Big Ten, right? Like it's hard to win on the road in the Big Ten this
Yeah,
year.
they're not going to have 9 teams in the tournament.
No, and they probably never should have. But they've always had that good reputation going in the tournament, and then they
This year
don't.
they have it. This year they have it. They're very, Wisconsin got hammered
I
yesterday.
watched. I did watch some of that. They
Was
look
that
terrible.
Rutgers?
Yeah, Rutgers.
Rutgers, when they get on a roll shooting the ball, baby, they
Mm-hmm.
can shoot it now. They're like
Who was it
Nebraska.
that Fernandez kid for Rutgers had scored like 5 points in the last 3 games or something, and he was just torching him. He was just
Bang, bang.
yeah. Wisconsin's lost like 3 in a row, haven't they? And
Since did they get into the top 10?
I
They were
think
right on
so.
the cusp. I think they
Yeah.
did make the top 10.
Well,
But
not
that's the Big
anymore.
Ten. Big Ten's tough conference, man.
It is. It's
Tough places to play.
Yep, absolutely. But it still makes me laugh every time a game at Rutgers and they're talking about Jersey Mike's the atmosphere here in Jersey Mike's arena. It's just like I hate it just doesn't have any good ring to it.
Rutgers
I'm
just
sorry.
didn't have a place in the conference. I still have trouble. And next year it gets worse.
I know.
Next year you go west, young man.
Yeah, just think about having to stay up until 9 o'clock to watch a Big Ten game on a Tuesday night.
Are they going to hire Bill Walton to do West Coast games?
Boy, if they do,
Big Ten Network.
that'll be a reason not to stay up. I can tell you that much. I find
Oh,
he is entertaining to a point.
and then he gets old.
An entire game of it is too much. An entire game of it when his son is playing is some of the worst things I've ever seen. I've never wanted. I don't get mad at broadcasters a lot, but that Arizona game when he was calling it during the tournament, I just was beside myself by the end of it.
All right, I have a question.
Okay, let's hear it.
LeBron James is last year as a Laker, correct? In this contract up this year?
If you say so.
I don't know. I don't know the NBA. I'm just asking. But I thought it was because I thought he has said all along he will play his last year with whoever drafts his son. His son's averaging about 3.5 to 4.5 points for USC. I don't think his son's going to be a lottery pick.
Yeah, it looks like he might have a. I don't know. It looks like maybe next year might actually
Okay.
be
Yeah.
his
There was
last.
always something about going with his son. And I'm like,
It's a
his
player.
son.
It's a player option next year.
Yeah.
Apparently.
So see, he can become a free agent. I just don't see Bronny getting drafted. Maybe me. I don't know.
Yeah, doesn't seem likely. But yeah, USC, another one of those Big Ten teams. I'm not sure how that's going to look, but I'm not really that excited about it. But I guess that's the way. The Big Ten is just making sure it survives because some of these other conferences are basically dead now.
Well, Michigan threatened to go to the SEC, but since Jim Harbaugh left and possibly left before sanctions come to Michigan, just a rumor. Didn't Michigan threaten to go to the SEC?
Well, and then like you see
And
that.
I
I
know
mean,
some people that hate Michigan. They said good riddance because you'd get your ass handed to you.
Chip Kelly. Did you see where he's going to go be the offensive coordinator at Ohio State? So that'll be interesting when Ohio State and UCLA play a league game. Going from being the head coach somewhere to being the OC.
It's
Now I guess
great.
a rival. I guess a rival school. You have to say it that way now, sort
Yeah,
of.
that's yeah. All right, let's
This is
wrap it up.
enough.
I have to figure out how to get a nap in before the Super Bowl.
All right. Well, we will be back next week. We will hopefully
Our
have
goal is to have a
no matter
guest.
what, we'll have regional girls championships to talk about, and
Yep.
that last week of boys regular season play, and then some boys regionals getting set to go. So we
Go.
we got enough material. I mean, we're going to be a solid 3 weeks left, I think, before we run out of teams to talk about, but hopefully a little more than that. We'll just have
Yeah,
to
we'll
see how
see.
it goes. We'll see how it goes. All right, Mike, enjoy that nap. Enjoy the game tonight, and you know, have fun.
Thanks, Whitey.
We'll talk to you later.
See you.